Hi, Karen. Thanks for meeting with me today. I'm Danielle. I'm the social worker here. I know we spoke on the phone a little bit, but I just wanted to go over a couple things with you before we got started. Is that okay with you? Okay, so just so you know, I have talked to your husband, as you know, and he has signed a release of information for us to talk. But as far as what you and I talk about here, it's going to be confidential as long as you don't tell me anything that would indicate you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else. And anything that you wish for me to share with your husband, we can discuss and sign a release of information for that as well. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And you and Sergio have some children, right?
Right.
Okay. So I just want to share with you that as a social worker, I am a mandated reporter. So any reports of abuse or neglect on the children, I will have to report to Department of Child Safety, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I know that when we talked on the phone the other day, you shared a little bit of what had happened to bring Sergio here to our services. I was wondering if you could give me a little bit more information on what happened and how you ended up petitioning him for the behavioral health services.
Well, he locked himself in the bathroom and he was just, I don't know, acting up. He was not wanting to talk to me. He was just being rude and mean, and um, he just kept swearing and talking to himself in the bathroom, and it was just a scary moment, because the girls are there watching everything, and so it was like, forget it, I have to do something. He needs help, and at this point, by me ignoring it, the girls are getting affected too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really hard.
And so I hear you saying that maybe this behavior isn't something he's always exhibited. Has there ever been a time where he didn't act like this? He didn't have such scary behavior?
Well, I noticed that as the time went on, but as you know, he's a firefighter. As time went on, he was like more attached to his job per se, and he keeps having these nightmares, and he starts like sweating all of a sudden, like screaming when he wakes up, and it's like he scares me, and then he starts to show behaviors like I have no idea where they're coming from. And then he stopped taking his medicine that was helping for a moment, and then he said that he's not crazy, and then he won't take him, and then now he's using drugs. And it's like he doesn't even care. Like the girls are right there watching him, and it's just upsetting.
Okay, yeah, I hear you saying that his behavior's gotten kind of increasingly scary for you and your children.
Right.
Okay, so now that he's getting inpatient services, what are some of the things that are on your priority list as far as your life concerns with you and him and the children?
Well, right now, like, I discovered that he hasn't paid rent. And now, like, what am I supposed to do? Because I never worked, and my girls are depending solely on me, and I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. Like, I have no work experience. Since we got married, I've been a stay-at-home mom, and it's like, I don't know. I'm, like, devastated. How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to support the extracurricular activities of my girls? I can't tell them that they can't go swimming anymore. I can't tell them that they can't go dancing anymore. Like, that will break my heart, and that makes me feel like I'm failing them. And it's because he doesn't want to take his medication. It's his fault that we're going through this right now.
I can imagine that that's a lot of stress on you. Would you be interested in maybe looking into some rental assistance resources? I might have some in the area for you to get some rental assistance until you guys can figure out what you're going to do while he's receiving services here. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Well, definitely. At this point, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what to do. Any help will be, I don't know, I would be grateful for it.
Okay, so we can definitely figure out some rental assistance for the area that you guys live. As far as the girls are concerned, are you worried about them with counseling or for yourself? Do you think that would be something you might be interested in?
Well, I know I do. But maybe they can just see somebody, just just to check it off. But thank God, when everything was happening, I witnessed majority of the issues of the problems. Like the girls didn't. Thank God for that. They were either at school or with friends, so they didn't witness as much.
Okay. So we can definitely get you some rental assistance information. And what about? Are you interested in working? Would you want some resources on employment or?
Well, I need, like, I need help from, like, I don't know, like, I've never worked in my life.
Okay.
And I don't even know where to start.
Okay.
I don't even know where to begin with. Like, I just have my high school diploma. That's it.
Okay.
I didn't go to college. I got pregnant fairly early in my life. And when we started our life together, it was like, okay, he will work and I'll stay at home. And now, like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm failing.
Okay.
I'm failing at life. It's horrible.
Okay. So there are some resources for job training. They have some Goodwill Career Centers where they can help you with some job training and maybe some resume building for whatever volunteer experience you might have or any kind of experience they could help you put together. Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so would you be interested in meeting with me again maybe in a week or two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So today before you leave the office, I'll make sure that you get some information on rental assistance and the career center and maybe some affordable or free counseling services for you and the girls. Um, if you're interested in doing it this week before we meet, you can certainly do that. Or if you want to wait or come see me next week, we can call together and I can help you with that. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any questions for me today?
No.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming to meet with me. I really appreciate it. And I'll get you those resources, and then I'll see you next week, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my first meeting with the client was after a phone call session with her. We talked about confidentiality, mandated reporting, eye contact maintained throughout, nonverbal head nods to make sure the client knew that I was listening, provided summation of what she was telling me, validation of her fears, ask about her barriers and what she currently wanted to work on, allowing client to have self-determination, serving as a broker for her to offer some resources and make sure that she was interested in receiving those resources. Also, talked about what she could work on before we had our next meeting and ask her if she wanted to do them herself or if she wanted to come back and work on them together upon our next meeting. We addressed the confidentiality issue of me working with her as well as her husband and offered her 3 referrals before our next meeting. So that all showed some professional skill building and letting the client know that I was there to help her with the resources that I was providing. So the next will be her termination session, which will precede a couple sessions that will not be shown. So it'll skip ahead a little bit to our last visit. Okay. Hi, Karen. Hi. Thanks for coming in to see me again. How have you been lately?
Yeah, I've been doing great. You know, I got a job, and the girls seem to be happy, and we're content.
Good. So, as far as your resources are going, how's everything going? I know you were worried about your finances and the house and the mortgage. How's that been going?
Well, I called the number that you gave me, and they were able to help me.
Okay.
But that's only for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we talked before, I needed to get a job, and I did.
Okay.
And it doesn't pay much because I don't really have that much experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it does help.
Okay.
So.
Okay, good.
It's
Sounds like you've made a lot of positive changes since the very beginning when we started talking about some of these goals.
Right.
Sounds like you're really focused on helping you and your daughters make sure that you could stay in your home. I don't know if you knew, but Sergio and I had also filed for family medical leave, so you guys will have some extra income coming in while he's receiving the remainder of his treatment. So how about the girls? Did you guys all go to counseling? Did you ever look into that? How did that go for you?
Well, they did, but they really didn't like it.
Okay.
And it was because it was messing up with their routine.
Okay.
And I went and I felt more relieved, but I also noticed that I am damaged by what he did and by his acting. So I don't know how I feel about him at this point.
Okay. So I did get a release of information to talk to you about some stuff that had come up recently with Sergio. I don't know if he shared with you about his diagnosis recently, with his evaluation. Did he share anything with you about that yet?
Well, I mean, it's nothing new. I knew it all along. I guess it all needed a doctor to say it, you know. That's basically what needed to happen. But I feel bad turning my back on him. But at this point, it's like we all knew he had mental issues. And now I don't know whether he's going to be taking his medication. Especially, like, when I read that he has psychotic disorder, it's like, what am I gonna do with that if he starts to not take his medicine and then starts behaving bad again? So then here we go again. So like I said, I have to be aware of that.
Okay. And how do you think you want to proceed going forward if he is released in the near future, maybe in a month or two? What does that look like for you? What do you think you need to prepare for that?
I don't know. I to be honest, I don't want to be with him.
Okay.
He did great damage, and thank God the girls they know what happened, and they seem to be taking it all right.
Okay.
But I feel that because we already went through this, he was already given medication to take, and he didn't want to take it. So I'm just afraid that it's going to happen again.
Okay.
And because he knows how to use guns and things like that, we might end up dead. So I am very afraid of that. I feel like maybe we should be apart.
Okay.
For a moment.
I hear you saying that you're pretty confident in that you don't necessarily want him to return home once he's discharged from our program. Have you considered, I know early on you didn't really want to have any meetings with him. Have you considered meeting with him, or have you been talking to him on the phone at all or anything like that?
I haven't talked to him, but the girls have.
Okay.
But I'm not ready.
Okay. Well, do you think there are any other services you would need from us? You guys are all set with your mortgage, and you have received some counseling services. Were there any other things that came up since the last time we met that you wanted to talk about, or moving forward? I know this is our last meeting, but I was wondering if there were any other resources that you would need from us before you move forward with your life.
No, I don't think I need anything at this point.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I really appreciate you coming in. I hope that we have provided you with some helpful resources. And I hope that everything works out for you. And if you do need us, you can call us here at the facility. Okay?
Okay.
Did you have any questions or anything you wanted to share before we finished up?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So in order to explain the relationship here, we put Desert Vista Behavioral Health, which is actually both being utilized by Karen and Sergio at this point. I put 2 lines for Sergio, just stating that he had a bit of a stronger connection to the behavioral health center since he's receiving inpatient services right now. And Karen has 1 line just utilizing kind of supportive services as Sergio's wife. I put the red dotted line there to serve the purpose of a strained relationship between her and Sergio, as well as half of a strained line on this side, just stating that there's a little bit of a strained relationship with the children, and then the connected line showing that they were both their parents. So during our second session, which was actually skipped ahead a few sessions to our transition into termination with Karen, we identified client strength, that she had been really determined to get back on her feet working to provide for her children while her husband was away. We also discussed her husband's diagnosis and his medications, which I had approved, that I seek supervision on to make sure that it was okay with the release of information to share that information. It was appropriate to bring up as services were dependent on treatment with Sergio still being in care. We also talked about FMLA, supporting her in getting a job, and making sure that the client felt like she had received all the services that she needed. So we proceeded with talking a little bit about what she could anticipate with her husband coming home. She came to the decision that she did not want him to live with her currently and was not sure if she wanted to continue at all. So that kind of put a halt to our services with her, which is why we decided upon termination. But before termination, I made sure that she felt comfortable that she had received all the services she needed as far as taking care of her children. We followed up on the counseling, the rental assistance, and the employment services on her, just to make sure that she had gotten what she wanted out of them, and to make sure that when she left the agency that she felt like she had everything she needed to be successful. So I thank the client for her participation. I think this was a complicated case because you're working kind of as a middleman between a wife and a husband, who are kind of both receiving services from us just for different reasons. So in the future, I might try to see if we could have orchestrated a meeting where Karen felt comfortable enough to have her husband in the meeting, and she would have been able to bring some of that to his attention. But I hope you enjoyed my capstone.